Remember before I left on my trip, I was going to bring 4 books with me to read? See how many I read and what I thought of them. Hi, Grandma Bev here from Life with Grandma Bev, and welcome back to my channel. Now, we all know that I had these really good intentions before I left on my trip that I was going to be gone for, 3 weeks. And I figured on the plane and, going and coming because it's in Europe. So you're on a plane a long time. I figured I'd read. I brought 4 books with me. I'm laughing because you know me. I'm going to go over what I ended up reading. This book, I started reading it a little before we left home here, so I would know a little bit about it, if it looked like it was going to be interesting, which it did. And we got on the plane, and they had it so dark in there. I mean, I could have turned the light on above me, but I didn't want to bother people. I was trying to get for being considerate of other people. I ended up not reading it. I ended up watching movies. So I read a little bit while we were on the cruise, but we didn't really have a whole lot of days to where I was just sitting around to read. So I didn't finish it by the time we were finished with the cruise. So then we took the flight back, same thing. Only read a teeny bit, so I still had more to go. So I finally finished reading it at home. And it is, as you can tell, the V.C. Andrews' new book called The Umbrella Lady. It's, she's the author of Flowers in the Attic. You can see, I always like the pictures on them. That's what gets me going first, is seeing the pictures. And let me tell you just a little bit about her. There it is in the back. She's, of course, one of the most popular authors of all time. She has been a best-selling phenomenon since the publication of Flowers in the Attic. And I just watched Flowers in the Attic last week because it got me interested to watch the movie again. First in the renowned Dollenganger family series, which includes Petals on the Wind, If There Be Thorns, Seeds of Yesterday, and Garden of Shadows. The family saga continued with Christopher's Diary, Secrets of Foxworth, Christopher's Diary, Echoes of Dollenganger, and Secret Brother, as well as Beneath the Attic, Out of the Attic, and Shadows of Foxworth as part of the 40th anniversary celebration. There are more than 80 V.C. Andrews novels, which have sold over 107 million copies worldwide. Now, if you remember, she died, and they had somebody else take over writing them, and that's when I quit reading them. So I've had a big break in between reading these books. So I wasn't sure how it was going to be. But now they've started a new series by a little girl named Saffron. So the book is, let's see, that's the next 320 pages long. But let me show you. They've got a listing of all of her books, either written by her or by surrogates, family members, or whatever. And let me get on to what it's about. Saffron Faith Anders is certain her father will return shortly. Let's see, can you see that? Move it over there. Hours later, still left on the train platform in some small village, the 8-year-old clings to her suitcase like a life raft. When a peculiar old woman approaches, Saffron is cautious, but exhaustion has her agreeing to rest at the woman's house while she awaits her father. Confined to this strange house, Saffron will undergo months and then years of transformation at the hands of the Umbrella Lady. Saffron's hair is cut to the root. The clothes in her suitcase are destroyed. No visitors are allowed. When letters arrive from Saffron's father saying he has started a new family and will send for her soon, hope returns to her heart. Still, as all children in the world of V.C. Andrews learn, those who claim to care for you most will often hurt you the worst. So this little girl, her mother and father and her and she, lived in a house that caught on fire, and her mother died in the fire. But the girl was saved by the father to get out. And so he decided to take off. They lost everything. He picked up a few clothes, a little suitcase for Saffron, and they got on a train. And at one point they got off in this little town, and he told her to sit there on the bench and don't move, and he'll be back for her. Well, he never came back. But this old lady with an umbrella showed up and took her to her house and started making changes with her. And this woman had also been a teacher, so she didn't even send her to school. She taught her herself. So what's interesting about the book is, there's twists and turns. So it makes you come up with all kinds of theories like, who is this old woman? Is she a relation? Did the father know the woman was there? Was it just coincidence or what? And does the father ever return? What's the scoop? So it does have an interesting ending. Not what I thought, but what I kind of started thinking real close to the end. And it kind of turned out how I figured out at the end. But it is interesting. It keeps you reading because you're trying to figure out, what's the scoop? What's going on, And I don't know if you saw, Lifetime just recently had like a prequel to Flowers in the Attic, where they did a what happened before the gal showed back up with her 4 kids that then ended up living in the attic of this Foxworth. Is that what it is? I always forget. Fox. Yes, Foxworth. And I found it interesting, kind of a typical V.C. Andrews one. And like I say, last weekend, when the Flowers in the Attic ones were back on, I recorded the first one, and I watched it. It had been quite a while, so some of it was new, some of it wasn't. Some of it I remembered. So will I read any more? Well, it says to say on the back here, follow Saffron's journey in the sequel, Out of the Rain, which is supposed to be out now. This came out in 2021. It's in a paperback, I think, now. Let's see if they said when it's... Don't miss the sequel to The Umbrella Lady. Yeah, Out of the Rain. So it's probably out in hardcover, because I think when I looked it up, it was in hardcover, and I don't like hardcover books. Too hard to carry with me and take places. But when it comes out in paperback, I'll be getting it. Yeah, I'm curious, And I may start picking up if I see some of the other ones that have been done in the meantime that were more like sequels to the Foxworth ones. I may pick up those and read them too to see what happened in between. But this is a total new series, family. So, what did I give it? I'd give it 4 stars. It's not a 5-star one, but 3.5, 4 stars. Enough to make me want to read the next one. So, comment below. Tell me what you think, especially if you've read it. Share, like, and subscribe. And I hope you're all having a terrific day. And my next trip, I'm still taking some books with me. We'll see if I read them. Love you all.